Eyes are up here. Come on now. Yes, I'm wearing a cast. As you guys know, if you had seen the live stream of the race recap, I broke my leg during Vegas to Reno. But that's not going to stop me from continuing on. Basically, what I have going on here is I have the other build that you guys have seen. I've teased it in the background for long enough. It's time to finally unveil this thing. But basically, I have another TRX sitting here. I've been waiting on parts forever. I don't make that big YouTube cha-ching, so I can't just buy parts willy-nilly and throw them on here ASAP. So this has been sitting around for over a year. Dirt Fiend and I collaborated on the graphics on this thing, and some of you may know where I got the inspiration for these graphics, but this is basically a Honda CBR 900 RR graphics layout. It's almost identical. Sam up at Dirt Fiend, I basically hit him up and said, I want this thing to look like my old bike. That's actually the first bike I ever had. I was into street bikes before I was into quads. So, well, that's not true. I had a 400EX before that. However, my first street bike was a 1995 CBR 900, and I loved the color scheme on it. The white, the purple, silver, black, and the fluo yellow or green. I think it was a little bit more green, but basically the layout you guys see here is exactly what it looked like. I hit him up and said I wanted to look like that bike, kind of an ode. It's still a Honda, so I wanted basically to bring back a retro kit. So that's what I did. I had him lay it out. He basically took pictures of a CBR 900 and then laid it out across a quad. So it's here, it's on, but it's been sitting here for a year. I've actually had the graphics laid out for, oh my God, I want to say it's been, the graphics have been on here since February. Basically, I laid them on the plastics in February and they've been sitting around because I've been waiting on all kinds of other parts. But we have most everything here. I can start getting to work on this thing and we can finally assemble this quad and hopefully I can ride it within the next month. That would be ideal. I did go with a few different parts. I've changed some things up because this is now going to be a purpose-built MX quad. That's kind of what I'm going for. I found out there's no Swiss Army knife out there. There's no such thing as a magic bullet. You can't get one quad to do everything. So basically, I'm just going to build more machines and have them more specific to what I want to do. So that's what this one's for. And I've gone with some different parts. And no, it's not because I have anything against the other companies. It's because I want to try something new. So for starters, I went with the Lone Star DC Pro arms. They are a MX arm. Their geometry, I believe, is they are like 0.28 inches forward and +2 wide. And the camber and caster and everything is adjustable. You guys can see I have some arms on there right now. But I can adjust the camber and caster on there and mess with that a little bit. I really only want a couple degrees of caster, or I'm sorry, a couple degrees of camber anyway. So I'm really excited to actually try these out. They look sweet. I got them powdered to match the frame, and I've messed with some other colors, but I'm excited to try the Lone Star stuff out. Some people have jumped in comments on Instagram and said, oh, you traded Lone Star for roll design? Ugh. No, I haven't. I've been running roll design for 3 years, and I actually really like that stuff. People think that I stepped down to go to Lone Star. I don't think I have. I'm just doing something different and I want to try something different. I got nothing against roll design. They've been fantastic. Doug and Jed have been fantastic to me over there. They help works racers out a lot, and I'm really thankful that I got to run that stuff for a while. So now I'm going to try something different because I may not be out here that much longer anyway. So we're going to mess with that. Also, I'm going back to a traditional bar. I've run Phoenix handlebars before. I really like the bend on them, and I went with a 90mm rise. So I believe before I was running the 80s, and I actually really liked the bend and the feel of the bars. They were really good. And then I ended up giving those bars away to somebody when I switched to flex bars. Now I'm going to go back to a hard bar. Nothing against flex. I like those flex bars, but I really like these Phoenix bars, and they are going to look sick on here with that purple bar pad. And of course, nice, decently priced set of, it's a Cherubies, by the way, not a Cerbis, Acerbis handguards, just some good handguards. And I think these ones, the mount goes over the brake reservoir instead of under, so I think I can set my levers a little bit easier. And one of my favorite pieces, don't mind that, that's just the caster on the chair. I'm gonna be rolling around this thing a lot. The Radiator R5 for the TRX 450. I'm excited to run that thing. I've heard it on other machines and it sounds fantastic. Also, the build quality on those things is really good. I ran that R4 for about 3 years with almost 0 issues. Maybe some packing blew out, but that was it. And then my Forworks matching seat cover. What Forworks has done now is basically they've taken the website, and when you build a seat cover, you can see it in live timing, basically the layout and the colors you choose. Before it used to be they would send a proof to you to approve, but now you can do it live on the website, which I really like. So I picked out the colors and laid it out like that. It's a little bit different than anything I've done before, but I like the loud colors, I like the bright colors on it, and I think I mixed them up pretty well. Again, it's just something I tried. So I'm excited to see it all together on this machine because I have rear plastics over there with all the graphics. Gas tank is ready to go. Basically everything is ready to go in here, even the engine. I just need the top end back, which is sitting with Jeff at OCP. We're gonna try some different things with that as well. But the things that we're gonna do in this video is basically I'm gonna go through and prep the chassis again, just like you guys saw on the Nomad for Vegas to Reno. I gotta put steering stem bearings in there. I still have a steering stem on the way. It's coming from Liger's. Liger's has a good deal on steering stems, and I would like to run a Liger stem and see how that is. Again, just experimenting with stuff. It's kind of fun to do that. The suspension, I am getting a DC6 rear linkage, which is also Lone Star, but then the shocks, I'm gonna try some PEP this time. They're kind of the starter, I shouldn't say starter set, but the cheaper end of the PEPs. I mean, you can get expensive with PEP, but they are some of the best shocks you can find, so I'm gonna try it. See how that goes. But basically, like I said, we're gonna prep the chassis, get some bearings in there. I still have to build the other lower arm because Lone Star sent those to me raw so I could get them powdered, and then I'll just build them myself, which isn't too bad. I have a press here. I can put some bearings in and the lower ball joint on there, and then I can get the subframe on and things like that. I can even put the bottom end of the engine in because basically from there, just gonna put a fresh top end and clutch in, which hopefully I can get a hints in here pretty soon, so let's get after it. All right, so we're gonna start with pressing ball joint into the arm, and then we'll go through the rest of the bearings in the arm. Basically, I just need to get this second arm built because I screwed this up once already and bent an arm. That was a stupid mistake by me. I got a socket stuck. That's basically what happened. But we're gonna press the ball joint in. Then we're going to press the rest of the bearings in so I can basically assemble the front end and be done with the front end. Oh boy, I hope that wasn't bad. I've been freezing these bearings, so I mean everything should be relatively easy to put in. Let's get this circlip on here. Oh, I hate these sometimes. Ah. There we go. All right, let's get this thing finished. There we go. Okay, got the big bearing in here, the big roller bearing. This is basically the front of the arm. You see the logo there. That's in, but something interesting about these arms, these DC Pros, is they use like this little spherical bearing that goes in the backside here, and it's held in. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's 2 grooves in there. Some more internal circlips, which are really fun. Not fun. I lied. So basically, to get them into these arms, I put this outer clip in first, turn the arm up on its side, run some extensions and a socket, or I have some little bearing presses. I'll probably try to use one of those. And then I press it down into that first circlip and then put the other one on top. So quite the process, but when you're all done, looks pretty good. And then I got to put the spacers in there. So let's get that in there. First circlip. Gosh, I hope I can get it in there. It's a tight fit. Also, it's nice to have a set of these that you can reverse. There we go. Basically, once you get it started, you can kind of pop it in there, but it is a pain if you're trying to take them back out. Yeah, it's tight. And these don't fit in there very well. Come on. Got it started in that groove. And I'll basically just work it around the edge so it snaps all the way in. There we go. Little click. I tell you, if you like just whatever powder coat colors that they give you as options up there at Lone Star, go with it, because it's definitely more of a pain in the butt. There we go, I got it in. Definitely more of a pain in the butt to build them yourself after you get them powder coated your special color. But of course, following a theme, and I kind of want to get familiar with these, so. Oh, let's get that bearing in. All right, basically all I did is get a long extension and find a socket that will hit that outer race. I don't want to press on that little spherical bearing on the inside, so I got a socket that's just the right size for that outer race, but not too big that it binds up inside the tube, and I should be able to press this thing in no problem. Gently. And there it goes. I'm gonna have to take it out and check it a couple times just to make sure I don't smash that there. A little bit of tension. I think I'm against that circlip. I can relax it. Then I'm gonna pull this out, take a look. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the circlip is in there, and then I'm pressing that bearing right up against it. Now we put that second circlip in there. That's really easy to do. I don't know if you noticed. Oh, nailed it on the first try. Bam! Did you hear that click? Now we're in. And that is real tight fit. Now I can put some seals in here. Make sure we pack this front bearing full of grease. All of those you who know, this is a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but packing bearings, whew, what a pastime. Something to do. This is a job your dads would give you if you were in the garage with them. Now these do come with 2 different size seals for these Lone Star arms. The reason being is because in the rear you just have the spacers that go in there, and then up front you actually have the pivot sleeve, which is a little bit thicker. So you have your blue seals, which should be up front here because that pivot sleeve, let me show you what I'm talking about, fits through your seal right there. It's a nice tight fit. If you're to use the other seal, black one, doesn't fit at all. That's supposed to go in the rear with that little spherical bearing you guys saw. So blues up front, and then the black seals are in the rear of the arm. All right, now that we have the seals pressed in place, let me show you what I was talking about with spacers. So you have like these misalignment spacers. Basically they meet just like this in that spherical bearing. So you basically pop them through here, and then it sits flush, just about perfect once it hits that spherical bearing. And that is what the actual mount sits against. So instead of crushing the actual arm, keeping it from pivoting, your mount pinches right up against those spacers, those misalignment spacers, and then allows that bearing to do its job. And then we got the sleeve up front here. Let's go install it. Now you guys can see there's those upper spacers fitting these heims. The other thing that makes this hard is I'm a gimp right now with this leg. Makes it a lot harder to do this. All right, and then try to line everything up straight, because if those spacers are off by just a hair, if you have them turn just a little bit, it's actually really hard to get them in there. So when they're all lined up straight, it all slides right in. Bam! Look at that. All right, let's put some nuts on the backside. Now these upper arms, I think I got the right length hardware, but the lowers seem to be off a little bit. I just might have got the wrong size. What I also like about these is you actually have caster adjustable. You can lengthen these or shorten these, and shorten one side, lengthen the other, so you can change your caster down here at the end of your arm. Now really, I'm just gonna be kind of running a fixed caster. I don't really want to mess with caster a whole lot, but I'll basically set it where it should be, where they want it, and then I can mess with camber a little bit out here at the end of the arm with these ball joints. It's a really cool setup. Okay, now let's get this lower one in. So I found that the spacers in the back here are a little bit tighter, require just a little bit of persuasion, but basically I can just tap them in and we're good to go. There, work it, work it. Another cool feature about these Lone Star DC Pro axle, another cool feature about these Lone Star DC Pro arms is they come with LTR geometry all over them. They come with these DC Pro spindles, which are basically LTR spindles that they've machined themselves. They're pretty spendy, but I got lucky and on eBay there was somebody selling these for about 400 bucks for the set. So I got two DC Pro spindles, which are really nice billet pieces, for about 400 bucks, which is almost half. It's a little above half, but you can put 0405 TRX hubs on these things, which is pretty cool. So I can rebuild some of the old hubs that we have, which I have a set. Thanks to eBay once again. I went and got these powder coated, Illusion Purple, one of my favorite colors. I've got some fresh bearings that I got to press into these, but these LTR geometry, which means they're steering and I think the way that the camber and everything is set on these, I'm not totally a wizard on the numbers, but these are basically LTR spindles that accept 0405 hubs, so you can put TRX hubs on here and TRX brakes, which is nice because that's what I have. So I'm gonna put those on there, and then I have the tie rods, which are pretty massive. These tie rods are basically aluminum tie rods. You thread the heims into them, and then you got all these pins that run through them with these misalignment spacers. Basically, it converts your TRX stem to LTR steering. So you have all the steering and handling of a Suzuki LTR, which everybody knows has pretty much the best handling quad for the longest time. YFZs are good, but those LTRs, they handle like nothing else. So I'm excited to get these on there. I'm gonna clean these up a little bit, and then I can go ahead and pop these on, and maybe, just maybe, I can stick some wheels and tires on here for today, so at least the front end is sitting on the ground, and then I can continue with the rest of the machine. Boy, it is noisy in here today. Between the fan and the AC's going off right now for the house. Sheesh. Still in the upper 90s down here in Arizona, so yeah. I'm gonna have the fan on for a little bit longer. All right, let's start by putting the little bearing in the hub first. And these, I've never really had a whole lot of trouble with the hub bearings. They pretty much go straight in. Now I gotta get a slightly different size spacer here, because this bearing actually has to sit all the way down inside there. So I gotta make sure I have the right size. Oh, look at that. Little Motion Pro, not a little too small. Ooh, that is just the right size. What am I quoting, Goldilocks? Fits perfect. All right, let's get it down in there. Perfect. for those of you who want to know, that was a 35mm spacer. So it's just a little bearing press that I got from Motion Pro, and it fits perfect in there, right against the outer race. Okay, flip it over to the back. The little plates on this press are perfect because I can put the actual hub down against the plate, and all 4 studs hang around the outer edge. Perfect. I really don't want to put weight against these studs because I want to keep them pressed in there, so I don't want them to accidentally press out as I'm pushing a bearing in. Shouldn't be an issue, but let's just try to avoid it if we can. And this one kind of sits down in there a little bit further. Oh wow, I could almost press that in with my fingers. Actually, let's see if I got one that's a little bit closer in size. $40? Oh, 40mm, perfect. Get her done. Now, last thing to do, put some seals in here. I just went with the PivXWorks kit. It was pretty cheap, relatively. I think I went with the $34 hub rebuild kit, but comes with the seals, so we got to pop those in and then basically add the little spacers. Nice and tight with the fingers. Get it flush. And then that feels good. Real snug fit. Grab your front-facing spacer. That's basically what the hub nut or the spindle nut sits against right there. And then everything rotates in there. Should add just a little bit of grease to this because you don't want it to burn out that rubber seal when it starts spinning right away. So just add a little bit of grease here, shove that in there, you should be good. All the bearings come sealed, so basically they're lubed up from whoever manufactures them, and they're fully sealed bearings. I suppose I could pop the covers off and pack them at some point, but just toss some new ones in there. All right, and then this, your backside bearing, or backside seal, goes all the way down in here, because there's like this little extra lip. Basically this flange right here faces out. So this should be facing your spindle. There we go. Oh, that fit really well too. Nice. I do like the PivXWorks kit. Whenever I can buy OEM, I will, but really, you don't have to spend that much money because OEM is pretty expensive these days. All right, a little bit of grease on there. And let's put the backside spacer in. Nice and gold. There we go. And then basically what I'll have to do after this is I'll have to clean up these little surfaces here because I don't want to bolt the brake disc to powder coat because that stuff can crush and turn loose, and then all of a sudden you've got a loose bolt or a loose loose rotor, which I don't want. So I'm going to grind that back down to aluminum just until I can see the aluminum basically, and then bolt everything in. Okay, basically all I wanted was a nice clean surface to mount these things to so that I'm not mounting them into powder coat. But yeah, these brake discs laying around, still plenty of life on them. I think they've hardly had any racing on them. So I'm going to go ahead and reuse them on here. I think they're a set of Tusk brake discs. I don't know. I love DP brakes, but this is what I have laying around right now currently. And I use DP brake pads anyway. They'll grab just about anything. So, not too worried about it. Come on. Give me my bit back. There we go. Okay, one complete hub. Let's stick it on there. Okay, after a little bit of lining up with that spacer because it wasn't quite centered, now we're cooking with gas. It's a good looking unit. Now I'm not going to leave this castle nut on here because I actually need to go get some new ones. This is an old used one I have laying around here. I'm gonna go match these up at Ace Hardware and get some freshies. Ooh, come on now, Butterfingers. This one's not in bad shape, but the other one is actually kind of mangled up here. Somebody ground it down a bit, so go find some new ones. But basically, I just wanted to see how this looked once it was on here. Oh. Basically now I'm just kind of getting a feel for the color scheme and how everything's gonna look once it's all on there. So hub is on there, we got the arms on there. I'm gonna keep going a little bit, but for now I'm gonna run and grab some new castle nuts and I'll come back later and I'll keep buttoning this thing up. Okay, second hub is on. I got that one a little bit more lined up off the bat, but by the way, if anybody's wondering, these castle nuts, this one's OEM, I'm pretty sure. These giant flange castle nuts. It's an M14 by 1.5. Chances are Ace Hardware doesn't have them. I went and checked. I went through every drawer. So I ended up ordering some new ones. They ended up being titanium. So just some eBay titanium. So I don't know, we'll see. But for now, that'll hold it on there. Now, next thing I'm gonna do is I've got all this bracketry, all these things. They go all over the front of this machine. And after the year 05, once they went to 06 plus, these things are like super over-engineered and kind of flimsy. I've actually broken some tabs off and had to buy new ones. But basically, these pieces go right up here on front. I'm gonna show you here. These go up front, basically sit like this, and down here is part of holding onto your headlight. Over there holds on to your fenders, that little hole right there. You got another one for this side, and then you got a bracket up here. This one holds your plugs coming from the engine and your rectifier, and then over here you got all these other plugs. Oh, it's a lot of bracketry, and then you've also got the one right here that holds your CDI box. But I've got it all here. It's all laying right down here. I got it all in bags, OEM, way to go. I mean, you really can't get anything that fits better than OEM, and I think you have to use this because nobody makes aftermarket stuff. But we're gonna get this all on there right now and basically prep this chassis so that once other things show up, like I've got a steering stem in the mail still, I still have Nerf bars in the mail, I still have engine pieces with Jeff at OCP. So a lot of things are still away, but for now I can at least prep this whole thing and get it together so that when it all shows up, I can just put it in there. So let's get on the next piece. All right, got all the doodads and the bracketries and all that stuff is on there now. But I wanted to show you guys something a little bit specific. So if you're ever wondering, just to help identify right off the bat, these two brackets up top, they hold a ton of stuff. They've got all of the little fittings down here to hold your plugs, and it even holds radiator back there. So your radiator supports go up here, and you got the little rubber bushings and all kinds of stuff. But if you want to know which side is which right off the bat, these two tabs right here, that's where you actually mount your fenders. So your fenders wrap over, that's where the top of the fenders go on these Hondas anyway. So they should face each other. So they should point in. That way you know you got them aligned right and they're on the right side. Something else I'm really excited to show you guys is this right here is my entire wiring harness. So this whole wiring harness was done by Jimmy Bortz. He goes by Wired Out Racing. A lot of you guys know who he is. I finally got a wiring harness from him. I was really interested because I wanted to cut this thing down. I wanted it to be real minimalist. So I hit him up and said, hey man, I kind of want to go bare bones, go as light as I can, and basically I don't even want a key on this thing. So he goes, no problem. And he whips up this wiring harness real quick. Basically, all 3 plugs go here as normal. He already eliminates the green wire, so those of you who know the green wire mod, you snip it and it opens up your map, basically gives you 1,000 more RPM and whatnot, changes your ignition curve, whatever. He's got that, it's all there, just the bare essentials. You've got all your normal plugs. You do have to run that big gray plug that runs over from here, that big gray plug that runs over to here and goes to your, I forget which plug it is. It runs off of here and runs down into your stator. Okay, sorry, runs off your stator. Got to kind of realign that and it runs off of this side, but that's all right. Then you've got your coil, so your ignition coil and all that, and your ground, and that's pretty much it. The next thing is this guy right here, your kill switch, is your key switch. So he basically eliminates your key switch, and then this just plugs in place of it. So whenever your kill switch is plugged in, it's on. So it takes place of the switch block you have over here with your on-off switch and your key switch, it doesn't matter. Ignition is on as soon as you plug in your kill switch. When you pull the kill switch, ignition's off. And that's it. And it plugs in like normal. And then he even goes ahead and labels everything for you. So you got like your fan here. I forget what IPG means right off the top of my head. And kill switch. So that will run the kill switch, the key, blah, 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 all that at the same time. Super simple, and it weighs nothing. Takes up no room. I won't have the battery back there. This is going to be kickstart only. So this thing is going to be bare bones minimum. I even have titanium hardware. We're going to put titanium bolts in for the body bolts, and I have some titanium back there for like the swing arm bolt and all that stuff. So we're going to go as light as we can, see what we can get out of it. And we're going to add a little dielectric grease because I don't want this plug getting stuck on here. Just so these plugs don't get absolutely welded to these CDI box fittings. So that is a pain whenever you have to like diagnose something or pull it off. It just makes life easier. And then we'll throw a little bit on the plugs themselves. Everything's already cut to length too. That's nice. Okay. Snap it all in. And all of this will hang off of this side. And that will run down to the coil, which is right there. Magic. Another thing I'm going to do here, stole some of these plastic clips from War Rig over there. He's looking kind of sad, giving up parts for others. But basically, snap these bad boys in. All they really do is help you organize all your plugs over here. I'm only running the 3 plugs, so I'm wondering if I should run them outside or inside. I don't know. This looks pretty good. And they're labeled nicely, so at least I can read them when I start plugging stuff back in. Organized. Ooh, that looks good. This is going to be kind of interesting. Maybe I'll mount it facing that way. I don't know yet. Or just hanging out right here. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Yeah, just got back from my weekly pilgrimage to Ace Hardware. Had to go get some more rubber grommets because, well, yeah, why not? Yeah, I had to get some more rubber grommets because something else just showed up today. Finally, there it is. Got another radiator. So I went with Mishimoto again because a little bit oversized. They seem to do really well cooling, and I've been running one for about 3 years now on War Rig behind me, which is in a pretty sad state right now as it is. So ordered up a new Mishimoto And it got here, God, I want to say 4 or 5 days. Pretty quick. But I like these. They're fairly cheap. Pretty affordable if you're looking for a good radiator that's not going to break the bank. So, don't need that. Ha ha ha. Ah, box. Yep. That looks good. So, all I got to do now, get this bad boy in. I've already got some rubber grommets in the frame, but we're going to mount up this new Mishimoto radiator. Mishi, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Doesn't really matter. But I do know that these work pretty well. And man, they look good brand new out of the bag. Only thing that I've found is kind of annoying with these is whenever you mount these Mishimotos, these oversized radiators in your TRXs, is that the plastics right over here on the right side, that right radiator shroud of all things, rubs against your filler neck right here, and it actually starts rubbing through the aluminum. The plastics are so abrasive, and the plastics are actually harder than the aluminum. They'll rub through the aluminum before you wear out the plastic, so I end up having to cut a little bit of my fenders. Could just be that I didn't line them up very well, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Gonna go ahead and mount this thing up and then set it in there for now and then continue on. So let's get to building. All right, let's line these little bottom tabs up. Oh boy, she's always tight. Let's get those in there. Right on the money, kinda. Maybe not yet. Not quite. It's tight up here. Those upper mounts are nice and snug, but even snugger-ish down below. Oh boy. There we go. Okay, now we're in there. Then we'll just go ahead and send a freshie in there. And now, lock this hardware in there. I like I do the hardware. Oop, that was a little off. Cross thread it. That's poor man's Loctite right there. Nope, don't like that. Nope. Let's make sure she's straight. God, I love that. That's fun. Well, let's try this again. Boy, that wasn't too bad. That was much easier. Okay, I guess I'll go nail the other side down. And now we'll snap in our new-ish, new to us anyway, coolant bottle. So these are pretty easy to come by if you know the right spot. Instead of paying for OEM, I went to a place called GDH Racing. Some of you probably already know that name, but basically John Helmick out in Tennessee parts out T-Rexes pretty much all the time. And I picked up a lot of used parts from him. They're in good shape. He always seems to pick stuff that's not all beat up and half dead. And he parts it out, so you can get it for a lot cheaper. And this lines up almost perfect, but basically it's just a little push pin to get these coolant bottles up here. Let's line that up. There we go. There we go. Tight fit, but it fits nonetheless. All right, cool. And there's our overflow. Sheesh. All right, now let's toss the subframe on here for balance purposes. Just throw a couple of bolts in it. Make sure it's good. Oh yeah. Doesn't line up perfect, but that's all right. It's aluminum. You can stretch it a bit. Except for there. That's not good. Oh, take it back. Take back everything I said about you. Just a skosh. Now, another little trick I can do real quick. Take little screwdriver, kind of inch it forward till it lines. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Perfect. All right, run a bolt in. What's the matter? Don't you want to go home? Ha! I win. Just got to get the other side straight. Sometimes it walks off on us a little here. Okay. There. Love it. Don't worry about this apparatuses down here under the leg. It's for mobile purposes. Okay, now we can get the exhaust bushing in here. Apply the lubricants. Yes, I said lubricants. Clear your minds. Well, this one's still pretty fresh. All right, all the way through, and ta-da! Okay. All right, well, I had a whole lot planned. I was gonna put the bearings in the swing arm, which I already did, and I got some of the bolts in there, the pinch bolts are in there, and I was gonna put the swing arm on, and then I realized that I got the wrong swing arm pivot bolt. So got the wrong swing arm pivot bolt, and I also am missing the seals for the pivot bolt bearings, so we're just gonna wait on that till next time. But for now, I figured why the heck not get a little bit of help from my lovely assistant here, and then we'll put the fenders on. Why not at least get a feel for how this thing looks, and then I guess that'll kind of end the video. We'll put the fenders on and bumper and grab bar, and then you guys get to get a good look at it, get a feel for how it's gonna turn out, I guess, and then we'll do the engine and swing arm and all that stuff next time. So let's get to the fenders. All right, so you take control of that one and you hold it up on the side here. I'll get that top rivet in. So we'll line it up down the bottom there. See that little white tab? And this one goes there, and you'll see it pop in. And this guy goes up on top. We shove the rivet in to help hold it. So that guy stays there. Now, don't worry, we'll get some bolts into it. Next, you want to go around the back side? Yeah, I know, it's a long ways. Okay, and we'll do the same thing. You see down here? Look behind. Get the little white tabs on there. Ooh, there, you hear that? Snap. Snap, crackle, pop. All right, and then boom. Look at there. Oh. Say hello. Hi. Okay. Do you want to go grab the hood and put it up there? See what it looks like? We kind of did, but now at least it's mounted. All right. Oh, there's the other push pins. I'm glad we found them. Whoa. Okay. So those will hang there. This guy, see the little tab? Goes in this side as well. And holds it in nice and tight. Oh, look at that. Ooh. I know, I'm doing the same thing. Ooh. Yeah? Me too. I think it's gonna look awesome. Gotta keep going though. So, next thing we gotta do, maybe sink a couple bolts in there just to hold it for a little bit longer until we can get the other parts. So we need bolts like this, all right? And then they go right through here. Are you coming to help? Look at that. Zip!
I think we should use the rainbow ones
We will actually. We'll use those for the body bolts. Ooh. All right, that one goes through, and then make sure we have it lined up. That would be why. Not all the way up there. Oh, yes. You think so? I think so too, dude.
I think so too.
All right, now, next thing we're gonna do, let's grab the bumper, and we'll put the bumper on here, the front bumper. So, the one on top is the grab bar. We'll set that off to the side. All right, so all we gotta do with this one, ooh, wow, that's dusty. It's been sitting for a minute, covered in dust. First, let's make sure the threads are clear. Why don't we do that, huh? I think that's a good idea. Oh yeah, it's clear now. Let's see how that goes. All right, let's put it back down. Yeah. Now, this is gonna be a bit of a hassle. We'll go ahead and back this guy out so we can... Yeah, easy does it all right. Might be, yeah. All right. And just because I'm a little curious about this myself, we're gonna go ahead and get the grab bar on while we're at it with some mismatched hardware. That's okay. I don't even have all the parts here to get this stuff done anyway. Still waiting on a steering stem, still waiting on shocks, linkage, seals, you know, non-essential stuff. There. Oh, come on now, cooperate just a little. Just a little. Yeah. Like I thought. And just because a guy can, gonna go ahead and stick the fuel tank and rear fenders on, because I really want to get a look for how this thing is going to come together. Oh, please be nice to me. Can even probably run a bolt or two in there just to make sure. You do the old squinty eye, you know, helps your aim a lot. Oh, yes. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of trimming around the gusset, which kind of sucks, but fuel tank sits right about there. Where the rear fenders should live. Okay, there we go. Okay, well that's gonna have to do it for now because I'm still waiting on a ton of stuff. I still got a steering stem to go, I still got the top end of the engine to go, I still got linkage, suspension, you know, all 9 yards and whatnot. But hopefully next time when you guys come back, we can get through the steering stem. I still gotta press the bearing in anyway. Seat cover's gotta go on, got that new seat cover. Handlebars, decided to put some Phoenix bars back on there. Exhaust, oh, it's gonna sound so good. I gotta get this thing fired up. But I think this thing is starting to come together just like I visioned it, I guess you could say. Maybe even a little better. I wasn't sure about doing white frame and then purple bumper and stuff like that, but basically I'm gonna follow that theme around with the Nerf bars as well. So, extremely excited to get this thing started. It's coming together pretty well, just waiting on a few things. So, hopefully, we can get back on it soon, but I've got to turn my attention to Nomad next because we've got to put some fresh stuff back on there. I've got the exhaust back from powder coating. However, we went with a little bit different color on it, a little bit different coating, and I've got some new heel guards on there. These ones are a little bit more beefed up, and new wheels and tires and things like that. Just basically get this thing in ship shape again so it can run. So, with that being said, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching this. I hope you guys really like this series. I love building these things, especially when I get to take an artistic approach to all of them. I get to really mess around with different ideas and change colors and mess with it. But I hope you guys like Project Randy Savage, and hopefully I can get this thing out and on a track soon, or out ripping, and hopefully ride with some of you guys. So take care, and I'll see you guys next time.